If we put a single question on the table, what is the single most dangerous object on the planet? The answer is not a bomb. It is not a virus. It is something whose mere presence is a death sentence. What you are looking at is a mass so deadly that for decades no form of life could approach it and survive. There is no prison secure enough, no suit thick enough to fully save you. If you stand in its presence, the clock of your life begins to tick backwards rapidly. It does not matter who you are. If you are in the room with this object, the die is cast. This is the elephant's foot. To understand how deadly this object is, we need to talk about radiation levels. Radiation is measured in units called Roentgens. Around 15 Roentgens is considered normal background radiation. At 50 Roentgens, protective equipment becomes necessary, such as in certain laboratory environments. Now, exposure to 75 Roentgens begins to cause harm, dizziness, and vomiting. At 200 Roentgens, hair loss occurs. Exposure to 300 Roentgens is fatal. Just a few minutes at 400 Roentgens poisons the body so severely that only 2 to 8 weeks of life remain. At 600 Roentgens, severe damage occurs to the skin, liver, pancreas, brain, and blood. Survival would be limited to less than 2 days. A dose of 1,000 Roentgens, considered extreme and catastrophic, destroys the nervous system entirely, causing death within minutes. The elephant's foot, even decades after the disaster, emits radiation levels of more than 10,000 Roentgens. At that level, a person standing nearby wouldn't have time to feel pain before their nervous system began to fail. Beyond the disturbing thoughts and sheer terror that this mass inspires, one thing must be said clearly: the person you see in the photograph died. In fact, he died as the result of an act that showed complete disregard for human dignity. This poor man, wearing a protective suit, was sent in to photograph the object. Later, other workers accompanied him, workers who were never properly warned about the danger they were facing. They died as well. Some of them were allowed to be near the reactor for less than a minute before being rotated out. This abomination lies in Ukraine, near the dead city of Pripyat, within the dark, miserable bowels of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It sits in a maintenance corridor, room 217/2, 6 meters above the ground, buried under concrete and steel. On April 26, 1986, the worst nuclear catastrophe in history began. The core of Reactor 4 exploded and became a volcano. Temperatures inside the core screamed past 2,600 degrees Celsius or 4,712 Fahrenheit. It was hot enough to melt the nuclear fuel rods, the zirconium cladding, the control rods, and even the sand and concrete of the building itself. In a matter of seconds, this radioactive magma ate through the reactor floor. It melted through 2 meters of reinforced concrete. Like a living thing, it flowed through pipes and fissures, dripping down into the steam distribution corridors beneath the reactor. By then, although too late, the workers of the former Soviet Union understood firsthand that they were facing a disaster of biblical proportions. They chose to stay. They did everything they could to reduce the damage, even though it meant sacrificing their own lives. They knew they were already dead. Whether they ran or stayed made no difference. They had only a few hours left, hours they used to at least delay a much bigger catastrophe. Everything that approaches this object dies, often long before it can even be seen. It can kill any form of life, and it has even caused animals in the surrounding forests, such as wolves, to be born with severe deformities. If you're wondering how more recent photographs of this object were taken, the answer is simple: robots. Robots equipped with cameras and live transmission systems were used. Even that was costly, because not even the machines survive. The radiation destroys them after a short time. Even decades later, the radiation is strong enough to damage modern electronics. The elephant's foot remains the single most dangerous waste object on the planet. It is a testament to human error and the terrifying power of the atom. It will remain hazardous for centuries to come, a silent reminder that some doors once opened can never be fully closed. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more work like this. Good night.